We don't have the sleepy ha-has. We have the, oh, right, it's the morning.
We don't have sleepy ha-has. We have the, oh my goodness, what is this terrible existence that plagues me upon my waking hours.
Wow, my voice just croaked. I've been drinking tea and I guess it did not help this morning.
You've been drinking? Oh my goodness.
Hey everyone, welcome to an episode of Pointless Discourse. I am Hoppocalypse and I'm thrown completely off and now I feel like I've got a burp and Itisdpayne.
Do you need to be burped like Time Baby?
Like Time Baby.
Where's the robots? Except yours would yours be like your bunnies? Just like jumping on your back?
I would imagine so. Unfortunately, the one that would be willing to jump on my back is barely 2 pounds. So I don't know how much it'll help.
They have to bulk up. Go to the gym, get swole.
But yes, we are here to talk about Gravity Falls.
What the heck was that noise? Oh, it's this. I almost said the sink laundry. No, just the dirty dishes in the sink. I think something settled. Sorry.
Oh. Just a little jump scare for you first thing in the morning.
I'm like, the mice are back.
They follow you everywhere you go.
It is my own plague tale. But yeah,
It's been a while since we've recorded in the morning.
Yeah, probably. I'm like trying to think when the last one was. Let's see. Well, no, we were.
I was busy last weekend.
Yeah, the 17th. That would have been like 2 weekends ago.
Yeah. So if
Anyway.
our energies seem different, we're the different kind of tired. We don't have the sleepy ha-has. We have the, oh, right, it's the morning.
Yeah, we don't have sleepy ha-has. We have the, oh my goodness, what is this terrible existence that plagues me upon my waking hours.
Hours. It still works.
Hours, yep. What is the Steam sale? Hey, it could be worse. We could pull out a ukulele and sing an apology video.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I see a lot of the comments on that saying, what a millennial thing to do. I was like, no, this isn't millennials. Having a ukulele is a millennial thing to do. Being a narcissist and victim blaming is not a millennial thing to do.
Ooh. Well, let's not look in my past now. Yeah, it's been fun. Like, okay, the situation isn't fun, but me having the only reason I know who this person is because when I was a youth pastor, one of my students really enjoyed this person, and I was like, I still don't really have any clue who they are, and I think I tried to watch a video all those years ago, and I'm like, yeah, it ain't for me. But yeah, I wouldn't have known who it was if they didn't show certain pictures of makeup choices
Of the character.
Yeah, so, but I've been seeing a lot of the reactions to it, and it's I don't know, it's just interesting where I guess in the past week we have Smosh getting back together.
Yeah, the history of that was pretty interesting. I didn't realize. Mm-hmm. I stopped watching YouTube. Not to say that, like, that's not the right way to say it. I stopped following YouTube when I was in college. So, like, when I was in high school, I remember watching a lot of Smosh and other creators of, like, the same vein. But then I got to college and I kind of was too busy to really, like, kind of keep up with everything. So it was kind of interesting to hear how, you know, they were bought out and then the company was like, you're not making enough money because we ruined the system and we ruined the content. So that Good Mythical Morning was like, we'll acquire the IP, and that they finally bought it back.
I heard I don't know, and I didn't really go into a deep dive of their history, but I thought what I heard was that the company that bought them went out of
Oh,
business.
maybe that's it as well. I just knew the only thing I was aware of is that they were going to dissolve Smosh in the terms for that company to save money.
Yep. And then I knew that Mythical, they bought it, and then it was, I think I saw like on TikTok or something where they're like, yeah, we wanted to do this, and then they're like, well, he's like, but I only want to do this if we can buy back Smosh, and that's when they're like, well, let me go talk to Link, and it's like, Rhett and Link? I used to watch a lot of them, but yeah, it's funny, like, your timeline of watching YouTube is like the opposite of mine, because growing up, like, I didn't. Well, the thing is, I don't think there was like the personalities on YouTube that there are that people know YouTube for now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what got me into YouTube was when I was in college, and my roommates would probably be closer to your age. I don't know, or maybe in between our ages. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But like, I know I was a little bit older than them, and they're like, we watched YouTube videos, and like, I remember specifically like watching, I think it was like Julian Smith, like his skits.
Hot milk.
Yep. Give the man a glass of milk.
Or no, milk and then hot Kool-Aid.
Yeah, hot Kool-Aid. But I remember watching those, but I remember like me and my RA, because like the way they had it set up was like we had a whole bunch of like cabins because it doubled as like a summer camp. So we stayed in there, and like, because the place where I was so like separated, they had like kind of RAs for every other dorm in there, and so me and my RA, like, we shared a dorm, and we ended up like our whole, like, the rest of our roommates, like, were on this like team that would go out like at different things, so it was just like the two of us, and it was so peaceful. And so like there was one time where like he's like, dude, I don't feel like going out anywhere, and I'm like, me neither. Do you want to just get pizza and watch YouTube? So we did that, and then like we just sat there because we had like a coupon, and it was a really crappy pizza. But I think
you were in college. That's how every pizza was. Whatever coupon you got.
Yeah, well, and then it was like a breakfast pizza, and it was like the next morning. It's like, why do our throats burn? But yeah, I just remember we sat there, like, brought up YouTube like on his laptop, and we were watching like animal fails and like baby fails, just like while eating breakfast pizza and just laughing. And then we're like, all right, well, guess we're gonna pass out now. Toodles.
It's a fun memory.
Yeah. And then we woke up and we're like, our throat is, what is this? What was in that pizza? We never got the breakfast pizza again.
I'd hope not.
Yep. But yeah. So YouTube's been interesting. I don't know. I feel like all internet entertainment things have been uniquely interesting for different things. And interesting doesn't always mean good.
Yeah, there's a lot of things you can research and go, oh no, oh God, please.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I know, like, Twitch is going through the whole thing. I don't know, I feel a little bit bad because, like, with all these things that Twitch is doing, like, I didn't realize they were Twitch staff until like after, like, I followed and got to know the community a little bit and just like have fun. And so like whenever one of these things come up, like, they come to my head, and I'm like, I hope they're doing okay. It's like, I don't know. It is very different from, I think, the other Twitch staff person. I think that you found, and then like we went and hung out, where it's just Captain Bubbly. Mm-hmm. So, which that person's also disappeared from at least from where I can find.
Gotcha.
So, any poops. Things be things. Internet be internetin'. I don't know. What's another thing?
Is that our segue into fun facts about Gravity Falls?
Boomers.
I don't want that segue.
Boomers, the shoot, I forgot what they're called. It's the enemy group in Fallout New Vegas. They have rocket launchers. Anyway, Acne was inspired behind the nickname Dipper. Hirsch got his inspiration from his high school friend who had acne. And he would map out his face to form constellations.
Oh, I see now.
Yeah, one day his friend had enough acne to trace out the Big Dipper. As cruel as it was, we can't deny that Alex was creative in making the nickname. Was he? It sounds like you have like a skin condition. Let me bully it. Oh, hey.
Well, hey, if the kid did it to himself first, it's one of those, I'll beat him to the punch, I guess.
Yeah, okay, so. Yeah, I was in translating the he not being the high school friend, but Hirsch.
Oh. That'd be a very mean fact, and that'd be a fact I'd be like, let's not put that out for everybody to find out.
Yeah, so I don't know. It could go either way, but doesn't matter. Yeah. So my brain died. Let's see, do we have any fun announcement stuff? Charity Palooza. When does this come out? when does the episode come out? Did Charity Palooza happen already? I don't know. I don't know where we are. Hey, if it did, cool. If it didn't, cool.
The timelines. You've at least expressed it in 2 episodes, so
yeah.
They've had 2 weeks to figure out if this has happened or not yet.
Well, by the next episode, I'll find out. As we said, we got morning sleepies. We're also we're on a time crunch, so and it's not as big as a time crunch as I first thought. At least for me, I don't know. Hop normally has the more of the time crunchies, but this is your first episode. Welcome, and sorry.
Spoilers ahead.
Spoilers, yes, and. Right now, Hop is already rolling her digital dice, but I'm going to roll...
I didn't touch the button yet.
I saw the finger getting ready, like... but I'm going to roll this D20 right now, and it fell.
So, as D-Payne goes and acquires his dice, we will be talking about Season 2, Episode 9 of Gravity Falls, since that was not necessarily said yet. Episode The Love God. And then...
It's written in the title. I write it in the title.
We don't know how
doesn't read.
Hey, if it auto plays, how will we know?
That's an option.
If you leave YouTube on long enough.
Oh, I was thinking of podcasts.
I don't know what happens.
I guess if you put it in a playlist,
yeah,
it ends.
But yeah, so we roll dice to see who's going to be the one to talk about the episode. We roll dice because we're role-playing game nerds. A lot of D&D, Call of Cthulhu, and games of the like, where you roll dice to see order of actions. So I'm rolling my digital dice.
I rolled the physical cheese die, and I rolled a 13.
Your turn.
Poop. This is the one where I watched kind of half of it because I was making breakfast.
Oh, no. Well, I rolled a 9 and you rolled a 13.
Yeah,
so the dice have spoken.
The dice have spoken, just like the dice gods have spoken, just like the love god speaks in this. Any poops, we go here because I'm looking at the transcript and I'm like, I don't think the transcript will help me very much in the beginning because I was watching. It was just also making breakfast. So. Pretty much in the beginning of the episode, we have Dipper and Mabel joining Wendy, Lee, Nate, Tambry, and Thompson. Wendy's groupies. I think
group of teenagers.
Yep. And so they're kind of all watching different clouds in the cemetery. just having a grand old time. And yeah, it's one of those things, like, I was remembering when I looked at this, and I'm like, I would look at the clouds, and I would always see monsters.
Like, oh no.
I'm like, we're going to die now. It's overactive imagination. Yeah. So anyway, they're all looking at there, calling out different things. I don't remember the specific things. I think one of them was a waffle. And then somebody was like, hey, there's a balloon-shaped...
heart-shaped balloon.
Oh, heart-shaped balloon. And then, but yeah, so pretty much they see this hot air balloon, and they call it the annual Woodstick Festival is in town. That pretty much, like, bring in, like, all these different... It's pretty much Woodstock, where all these different musicians come in, and, like, we find pretty much they're all like, oh man, this is going to be amazing, we're all going to be able to go. Where Dipper says, like, well, I never attended an actual concert before, which I guess... I wonder if Mabel... Well, I guess Mabel attended a concert even if she broke into the back.
Yeah, I mean...
I forgot the... Boys Up or whatever their names are.
I'll look it up.
Yeah.
Go on. They show up later in the episode, so we should remember their names.
Yeah. So anyway, they're doing that, and they're just like, oh man, this is pretty cool. So anyway, they're all having a grand old time doing that, and then they're just like, oh man, let's go. Well, pretty much Wendy is showing them on Tambry's phone of the people that are going to be there, which is Scarves Indoor, Wood Grain on Everything, and the Love God. And they're like, and they kind of suggest, like, hey, you've probably seen him in a viral video. And in the video, it cuts to the Love God, a plump... the
band name is Several Times.
Several Times. I knew there was, like, an S in there, and that's as far as I got. But yeah, so pretty much the Love God, he is a very pleasantly plump dude that wears these little angel wings, has, like, cool tattoos, and, like, blonde hair with a belt with all these, like, potions. I knew I recognized his voice. It's John DiMaggio. Mm-hmm. I'm like...
I was like, that's Bender. Wait.
Yeah, that's what I thought a little bit as well, and I'm like, you can hear it. It's also Waka. From Final Fantasy X. So anyway, like, he's in there, he's like, who's ready for love tonight? And everyone cheers as he, like... He's also very clumsy as he kind of, like, falls face first into the camera. And he's like, oh, no one's watching this. And everyone's like, oh, man, like, different. That's when he says, never been to a concert. And they're all like, yeah, let's go. It's gonna be great. All while they are bullying Thompson to, like, lick a sponge. And he's just like, oh, man. And they're all like, oh, my goodness. Everyone's like, oh, my goodness, I can't believe he's doing this. And they're all, like, having a grand old time doing that, where they hear groaning in the cemetery as everyone's like, oh, my goodness. As it's just like, Mabel, yeah, ghostly sounds, cemetery ghostly sounds. Where they're like, oh, man, it's come. They realize, like, there's an open grave next to them. They're just like, this is where the sounds are coming from. They're like, pretty much force Thompson to go look in, and he goes in and peers down into there as everybody starts chanting gaze upon death. And he kind of looks down and screams as lightning strikes, and then theme song. Yeah. Pre-show cliffhanger. And so then it kind of cuts from the theme song to everyone, I think, is looking into the grave. And it's even creepier than I expected, where they see Robbie lying holding a picture of Wendy, kind of crying. And he's like, why did they leave me? Why did she leave me? And they're like, Robbie? And that's when he wakes up and is like, hey, what's up, buddies? Just don't mind me. Where they're like, nah, we saw the whole... It's like, pretty much like, yeah, we haven't seen you forever. Where you've been. And that's when Wendy's like, are you still not mourning our breakup? And he's like, what? No. He tries to push a picture behind him, hiding it. And And like, yeah, it's like when he brings up like, yeah, we broke up forever ago. Yeah, it's really sweet that you throw yourself in a grave for me, but come on, it's time to move on. And so pretty much, yeah, Robbie's like, yeah, well, I totally moved on. What are you talking about? As a ringtone plays, and he's like, it's him singing, Wendy, I missed you so much. I'll never move on, never ever. As he's like, oh my goodness, and yeah, so it kind of goes on as everyone kind of gets feeling a little bit awkward as Mabel sticks around, as Robbie is shuffling dirt on his head in like embarrassment and sadness, and Mabel was like, wait, like he's seriously hurting, like in the hot, and like we just can't leave him. And Dipper's like, nah, come on, it's just Robbie, let's go. But Mabel, being Mabel, is just she can't take it. Like she has, is it empath? Is that the person that can like feel other people's emotions?
Yeah, empathy.
Yeah. She's totally empathetic towards Robbie, and she's like, I have to do something. As it kind of cuts to, and Dipper's like, dude, we don't need this. Like, we don't need to get mixed up in romantic drama. And it's like, and then the real Ray's like, dude, we're finally in with Wendy's friends. Let's just do this. So where Robbie's like, it kind of cuts to Robbie as he's like, just eat me already, as he's talking to a vulture. And then it's like, the vulture's like, okay. and starts eating him. So anyway, from there we go to the Mystery Shack, where Wendy's apologizing about them seeing Robbie, and Mabel's I don't know, what she says here, not like what she said, but what she does, I'm like, oh my goodness, that ain't good. Where she's like, you know what Robbie needs? A new girl. Romance is like gum. Once it's lost its flavor, you just cram another one in. And she just shoves another piece of gum in her mouth. And I'm like,
not healthy?
I'm like, well, yeah, that statement is like, no. But then, like, it shows how much gum she's chewing, and she has braces. And it's like, dude, you're is it orthodontist?
Yeah, orthodontist.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. If anything, TikTok has shown me the people that work with your teeth and mouth know a lot more than you tell them.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So, we'll just leave that up to everyone else's own research. So, I lost my place. There it is. So yeah, Wendy's trying to like, dude, Mabel's not that easy, and Mabel's like, I am the world's greatest matchmaker, as she kind of pulls out like this
happiness chart. Yeah,
well, the happiness chart was earlier when that's when Robbie didn't have a sticker on it while everyone else was happy. This one, he's like, I never had an unhappy customer, and she points to Seuss and Melody as like it shows. Part, yeah, it's like he's like walking behind a cardboard box, which is cute. It's like, oh, okay.
He's like, doing the I'm going down the stairs bit. Mm-hmm,
and it's just like, okay, it's like Sue's finally found somebody that's like that likes him for him, mm-hmm. which and vice versa. So yeah, he goes down the box like, did it look cool? And he's just the coolest. So, but anyway, he goes back to them and she's like, match made. And then, of course, Waddles and Gompers, as kind of cuts to a wedding veil made out of saran wrap and all these like tin cans tied to them, as apparently wedding music is playing. And she's like, match made. And they're like, okay, that might work for a goat and a pig, but not Robbie. Like, he's a hopeless case. And Mabel's like, really? So with that inspiration, we kind of cut to Stan as he's like kind of put together another attraction, which is a rainbow afro and a stuffed gorilla, as he starts singing literally that to himself. And pretty much like the wind picks up and blows the wig off as he gets the ladder and then he looks up as this large shadow begins to creep over him, and he's like, oh no. And he sees the hot air balloons, like hot air balloons, and then he looks fixed gear bikes as these bunch of bikers go by him, and then a van pulls up with a wood stick, a person going to wood stick sitting on top playing the guitar, and he's just like sitting on the open road, and my sandals are so open toed. It's like folk music. It's the Woodstick Festival, and like he pulls out like opens up his chest of medieval weapons, pulls out a crossbow, and he's like starts aiming at one of the hot air balloons. He's like, I can take him down, and that's when s2e9 talks in the language that Stan only understands, which is, you might make money if you can appeal to them. And he's like, do you think it? I don't know. It's so many words for just saying hippies.
Yeah.
It's like, you think pretty much he just says, you think these hippies would give me any money? And he's like, you just got to figure out what appeals to them. I still think I like the one line before s2e9 says all this. He's like, Stan yells at him, lock the shack and hide the t-shirts where anyone tie-dyes them. So Stan's like, and so all he hears is like, how do I appeal to young people? And then I think he looks at hot air balloons. They're like, hot air. They're into hot air balloons, eh? From there, we cut to the Valentino household, which from Robbie's place, like perspective, like he's always doom and gloom, and it kind of is like, oh, his parents are funeral home directors. Is it directors?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, okay, there it is. Yeah, I didn't know if they had a different title. And it's just like, okay. She's like, oh man, this is gonna get intense. And they open up and they're like the happiest people, like, how do you do? And she's like, and they're like, oh my goodness, you're Robbie's parents? And they're like, yeah, as Wendy's, I always thought he was like raised by sad wolves or something. And it's like, and that's when he's like, well, he doesn't talk to us, doesn't like to talk to how he doesn't like to talk about us. There we go. We're always too cheerful for funeral directors, which I heard a lot of funeral directors are cheerful. Anyway,
I don't think I've met any.
I always meet them when I'm at a funeral. So, and they're.
I don't want to sound mean, but they did just get paid.
Yeah. No, it's also that, but I don't know. I feel like if you're going to be working in a place where you're literally trying to make sure the ceremony and the remembrance of someone's passing goes as smoothly as possible, someone having a brighter disposition during that time might be a little bit nicer than just a somber one, because it's like, depending on the relationship, there already are somber and sad. So anyway, it's but then again, always when they're working, they're very respectful from what I can see, and they're just like, hey, come on, keep it moving. But anyway, Mr. and Mrs. Valentino are like the embodiment of like Sugar High Mr. Rogers, as they're just like, yeah, let's do this, happiness. And it's a line that I was just like, that was a weird choice of words, where Mabel's like, I'm not here for crackers, I'm here to cheer Robbie up. And Mrs. Valentino's like, oh, okay. And then just yells up. This is when we find out that Robbie's middle name is Stacy. Robbie Stacy Valentino. There's in the line, there's a little girl here to see you. It's like,
so weird.
I'm like, okay, I could probably be worded differently, but okay, whatever. And
just dropped my phone. Sorry.
Yep, no problem. In shock. But yeah, so she pretty much gives Mabel, like, can you give Robbie his lunch? It's pretty much a plate of spaghetti
with a smiley face.
Always happy. So she's like, as Mabel's like, I like your style, and like they kind of go up as Mabel walks down a hallway. Before they go, like, Mrs. Valentino's like, you know who would look good in a sweater like that? Mrs. Gravelson's remains. And Mr. Valentino's like, absolutely. So
way too bubbly.
Yeah. Hey, if you got to work somewhere, might as well enjoy it. don't I should probably take my own advice, but whatever. Um, but yeah. So it shows Mabel walking upstairs. She walks by all these pictures of Robbie. As like it goes from happier to how we see Robbie now, as he's an old grumpy. And yeah, so Mabel knocks on the door. It's like, hey, it's Mabel. I was like, who the heck is that? And the only way he helps him remember who she is, he's like, remember me? I'm like Girl Dipper. And he's like, go away. So she goes in anyway and just like tries to start talking to him, where Robbie's like, hey, if you forgot, your brother's the one who ruined my life, as like he throws a spray can. Wait, hold on. Furiously tosses a spray can, a shuriken, and a combat knife. I thought he just threw the spray can.
I think he just throws a spray can, but when they pan over, it has all of those items in the picture of Dipper on a dartboard.
Yeah. And so Mabel just is like, okay, whatever. And like, I'm going to fix that for you. And yeah, it's just like, thought you were a creepy jerk, a human version of rat poison. and Robbie's like, okay, go on. And that's when we kind of have this conversation where Mabel's like, hey, I saw that you were so sad, and I realized, like, yeah, you're not that so bad. And Robbie like interjecting a little bit to Mabel just being so forward, as in short, Mabel's like, look, I can. He's like, I'm a good matchmaker. I'm gonna find someone for you. And Robbie's like, okay, if I say yes, will you go? And she's like, yeah. So where it cuts to where she kind of, like little Gideon, has a little diorama and setup of all Gravity Falls, and she is going through everybody to match. She's like, Lazy Susan too old, Grenda too young, Multi-Bear. We'll put you in the maybe. And yeah, and so we hear bleeding and squealing from pretty much we hear Gompers and Waddles making noises, where she combined their name into Wompers. And they're like, she's like, what, Wompers? Someone we already know? Who got? And like kind of go, it's like, no, and like she's like, of course, that's it. You two are really America's favorite power couple.
As they're tied together.
Yeah. So while this is all going on, it shows the teens and Dipper kind of all hanging out in Thompson's garage, as they're taping snacks to Thompson. He's like, I'm just happy to be included, as they're just like putting all these snacks on him, and they're like, yeah, this is the perfect way to sneak in cheap snacks into the concert, and it was all Dipper's idea, and everyone's like, yeah, cool. As like they're all like, Dipper, I sense greatness in you, and they're all like yeah, it's gonna be awesome, and they're like, okay, let's all go home and get ready. Let's get ready for this concert. And as Nate kind of is like, yep, don't wait up for me, Tambers. And she's like, don't call me that. And he's like, yep, classic Tambers. And as she looks down and sees a text message, she's like, Tambury, you, me, date, bring that sweet, sweet bod, your secret admirer.
I would not attend that if I got that text, but I'm just different, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I never got text messages like that, so I wouldn't. I didn't really talk. Big surprise! I didn't really talk to a lot of people in high school, except for those I like directly interacted with. So anyway, we're at Greasy's Diner, which I just realized that that's what Lazy Susan's Diner is called. They're all sitting there, and pretty much Robbie's just sitting in the booth as Tambry kind of walks in, and as Mabel's like, watch, Lazy Susan, watch this, as like love's about to happen. As Tambry and Rob like see each other, like, oh my goodness, this is what I get for trusting a toddler. And she's like, and they're like, dating someone I already know. There's kind of like admitting defeat where it's like, didn't you already know Wendy?
Yeah, all same friend group.
Yeah, it's like, there's only 5 of you. Anyway.
And we have history of them growing up together.
Yeah. So in the end, when Tamri's like, they're like, no, I'm not even interested. And Robbie's like, let's be real. If I want to date you, I would have done it already. As he's like, oh, sweet mustard. Can't let that go to waste. As he starts licking his elbow. And Tamri goes back on her phone, like, blind date with a sociopath. And they kind of get more frustrated, and like, Robbie orders some chili fries to go, and Mabel is like flabbergasted, like, what? How has this happened? And then right on cue, the door kicks open and the love god enters. He's like, woohoo, who's ready to fall in love tonight? And everyone in the diner is like, yeah. And he's like turns on the jukebox, and he's like, all right, we're writing history tonight. It starts with you, as he points at like this this random man and woman, and he's like, you and you, and they just start like, I don't know, do they start making out, or just,
yeah,
okay, I know,
I'm pretty sure they do.
Oh yeah, okay. He points at them too, and then they start making out, and he's like, love is real and it's in your face, as like he goes up to this like elderly woman. He's like, what's your name, little angel? Meredith. And I heard whisper, Meredith, we got a problem. And like points at this other older man. He's like, that cutie over there is your soulmate, and you're living without him. What do I do? Go get him, girl. And he's like, pow, match made, as he kind of, as Meredith and random man are just like all giggles, and Mabel's like, how does this work? And so she walks up and is like, hey, big fan, tell me how the heck are you making this happen? And he's like, let's just say the name, the love god, is not a coincidence, as he flutters his wings, which he's not wearing them. They are part of him. And he's like, wait, you're an actual love god? And he's like, some call me cherub, but yeah. And he's like, here's a cassette tape, as he hands her a cassette of his album. She's like, great, and just drops it in the trash. To where she asks, can you make anything fall in love? As there's a snake and a badger just fighting and just yelling at each other. And he's like, yeah, you don't know, it's gonna hurt. Boom! And match made, as the animals like quickly go like, wait a second, and just like look at each other in a new light, as the snake just more like wraps itself loosely around the badger, and they just kind of walk away. As Mabel's like, they're gonna make a snadger. And so she asks like, how's this happening? And he's like, I got a love potion, and like kind of goes through all these different ones: summer love, young love, anti-love. And he's like, just put a little bit on your fingers, and just boom, done. And Mabel says this line where it just shows, I'm like, yep, she's been hanging out with Uncle Stan, or Grunkle Stan, where she's like, how much would it cost? Give it to me. And I need it now. And he's like, hey,
you forgot the most important bit. She grabs a squirrel somehow.
Oh yeah. Yes, she just grabs the squirrel. It's like, do you take squirrels as payment? And as he's like, the love god's like, no, buddy, there could be major social consequences, like that's why you have to be an expert. As this woman comes in, he's like, love god, sign my face. And he's like, only if you sign mine, baby, let's get weird. As they
he's very distracted.
Yeah, it's in the transcript it says that they started kissing. I didn't know that's what they were.
It kind of looks like it. Yeah. I don't remember if there was a noise, but it looks like it.
Yeah, like he definitely leans over and is definitely distracted, as Mabel's like, well, this is my chance, as he grabs the love potion, replaces it with the squirrel she just picked up, and she's like, shh. As she runs to the kitchen, talks to the chef, you mind if I add a little something to these fries? And I was like, sure, whatever. And then heavily pours the potion on top, which comes out like gloop. pink glittery gloop, and they deliver it, and Robbie, without really caring, just takes a bite of it, and he's like, whoa, did you like suddenly get a whole lot more likable? As Tambry takes a bite, and he's like, you don't seem as needy as I used to think you were. And what was it? Yeah. Hey, do you maybe want to get out here? And I was like, I don't know, go kiss in public a lot. And Tammy's like, for some reason I do. And she begins to like type in her phone, status update, and she's like, you know what, forget it. She like puts down her phone and walks out. And Maeve's like, match made. So anyway, all this goes on as pretty much it goes back to Dipper and the teens, and they're all getting ready. I think Wendy is like standing on top of a table or something, just like, who's ready for the best, most overpriced day of our summer? And they're like, yeah, and they're just all getting over there, and the bullying of Thompson continues, and they're just like okay. And that's when Mabel runs up and is like, sorry guys, they're all wondering like, there it is, waiting on Tambry, you can't leave without her. That's what Nate says as Mabel runs in. She's like, sorry guys, Tambry's gonna be a little busy at the moment, wink wink. And they're just like, why are you winking? Let's just say she and Robbie took a trip to Smoochville. Now everyone's happy. She holds up her happiness chart, and everyone's got, except for Dipper. Dipper has an upside down smiley face. I noticed, and yeah, so she's like, yeah, everyone's happy, and that's when Nate's like, how could you do that? He knew that I liked. Nate says, Robbie knew that I liked her. How could you do this? And Lee's like, wait, you like Tambry and you told Robbie, not me? And Nate's like, you always make fun of my crushes, and he's like, that's what we do. And Wendy's like, this is so just like Tambry to do this, date my ex behind my back, as she begins pulling her hair out. He's like, I'm gonna tear her highlights out. As Dipper's like, guys, calm down, concert. And everyone's like, we're not going to the concert, not with him. And they're all like mad at each other. And like Wendy's like, the three of them run out as Thompson's like, wait, guys, as it's just Dipper and Mabel here, and he's like, this group is all I have, don't make me go back to having no friends, guys. And Mabel's like, match made, as all her stickers fall off the happiness chart. And as Thompson turns around after yelling, don't punch the mailbox, as Nate punches it and immediately regrets it. And he's like, he turns around to the twins like, what did you guys do? I let these guys pick on me for years to keep this group together, and now that totally fell apart, and pretty much all thanks to you guys. And like Tipper's like, I don't understand, like, because it's, I don't know, the first time it's not his fault everything's going falling apart, because knowing it's him messing around with the book and stuff. And Thompson's like, hey, unless you can break up Robbie and Tambry immediately, there is no gang. And he's like, pretty much peels off a chip that was taped to him. He's like, I'm gonna eat this, as he goes to leave. And Dipper, he's like, pretty much turns to me, I was like, what did it say if I stay out of Robbie's personal life? And she's like, it's like, I know, I should have never gotten the love potion from the love god. And he's like, Dipper's like, wait a second, what? If you put a spell, you can like undo it, right? And she's like, wait a second, we can do that, we all be friends. And so and right where they leave, like, Dipper's also in like a different kind of costume, which is like the Han Solo vest, I think it is, and a v-neck. And it was like, by the way, you're not pulling off that v-neck. He's like, I know. And she's like, burn it. As we go to the Woodstick Festival, as we see a dude in a hot air balloon, as like we kind of go through and we see a bunch of different like attractions. I don't know, my brain is kind of forgetting all the different things. It doesn't really say what was set up, but like it looks like a lot of food stands and stuff. Reminds me when I went to a music festival. Music festivals are neat because you get to see a ton of bands at once. Except now, I don't know, a lot of the bands that I would listen to now, I'd want to go to their shows. So So anyway, this all goes through as Stan's like, balloon faster, Seuss. We need to get this thing up in the air before the festival ends. And Seuss is pretty much questions the instructional integrity of this, and he's like, never shut up and get going. And pretty much.
More kerosene.
Yeah.
Yeah, because was it Seuss is like, should we have this open flame this close to everything? And Seuss is and Grunkle Stan's like, put more kerosene in the engine.
Yeah, just do it now. So anyway, we go back to the Woodstick Festival entrance, and when Mabel and Dipper are hiding behind trash cans, as Thompson walks by, pulling the group just like towards the entrance. He's like, "Guys, these tickets were like $100. I sold my watch. You gotta come to the concert." And as they're all like, "Ew, to watch that? No thanks." As conveniently, Robbie and Tambry walk by, walking together, arms length. As Dipper's like, they're doing that couple hug walk, and it's like, he starts to yell, "You guys are in public. People can see you." As Mabel's like, "Shut up. We're trying to sneak in." As they go by, and the car's like, "What the heck was that?" So anyway, they kind of sneak in there. At this point, I think Mabel just goes to concerts via sneaking in. I don't think she ever pays for it.
Saves a lot of money.
Yeah. Saved at least $100. Makes me wonder where the heck Dipper got the $100. So anyway, he goes in, and they sneak up, and they're like, okay, and they find the Love God's van as a man kind of steps in and is like, "Hey, Love God, sound check for Love God," as the back of the van opens up as he kind of like, I guess, drunkenly stumbles out.
Implied, yeah.
Yeah, as he's like, "Hey, groupies, bedhead me."
And the groupies is, I think, the girl from the diner earlier, and
get him.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. Yeah, Tyler, cute biker, right?
Something like that, yeah.
And so he's like, "Love God's about to get crazy," as it begins to walk away with the people, and they notice that his belt is left there, Mabel, and so they kind of quickly run over. She goes through and finds the anti-love potion, as the the description: diversity of effects of a love potion. Simply spray on your victim and watch their hearts die on the inside. And Dipper's like, "Sounds good to me." As the Love God comes back and is like, "So you're the one that's been stealing my stuff," and Mabel's like, "Hey, I'm sorry, I gotta fix. I made a mistake, but I have to fix it." And Love God pretty much tells Mabel like, "Hey, I told you guys like this stuff was way too dangerous, and I cannot let you out." And he's like, "Where'd you go?" As it shows them just like, "Whatever, nerd," and just starts running. And Mabel's like, "Sorry, but it's good for my friends," and they're just running away. Eventually, she throws the potion over to Dipper, who just runs up on stage as the Handlebar Brothers are performing, and he's just like, "Oh no!" as he just sees the crowd of people. And the Handlebar Brothers, by the way, is just 3 folk singers with giant mustaches tied together.
Who must ask you to leave?
Mm-hmm. To where, the Love Guy's like, "Get those kids!" as the Handlebar Brothers kind of like stand in front of Mabel and Dipper. Mabel and the Love God follow after Dipper shortly, as they're like, "Halt! We must ask you to move." And then pretty much they karate chop their mustaches, causing everyone to bang their heads and fall over as they jump into the crowd. And begin crowd surfing away from the Love God, which I think definitely shows all 3 different personalities. Where Mabel's like, "Oh, thank you," as like she's moving there. Dipper's like, "No, everyone is touching everything," and just like he definitely doesn't want any of it. And the Love God's like swimming, just like
High-fiving people.
Yeah, high-fiving, handing out cassettes, like, "Get that back," and just. Finally, they get to the end, and his pretty much his wings. He's like, "Oh man, I haven't used my wings in a long time," as he is attempting just to fly to catch up to the kids, which he does do, but it's definitely a struggle. So anyway, the love god is chasing them as they run past as a guy is drinking cider, which I think it said like woodstick tea or something like that. There was something written on the bottle as he drinks it, and then he sees him flying. He's like, nope. Just pours the rest of it out. And so Mabel, they spot Ravi and Tambries. They're running. They're trying to get there. And it's like, look, just one clean shot of the back of the heads and everything's fixed. And she like kind of grabs the top of a spray bottle and sticks it on the anti-love potion. And as the love god's like, sorry kids, you left me with visions. You left me with no choice. Visions of heartbreak past. As like this pink smoke puffs up. And it which reveals the illusions of all Mabel's past crushes. As Gabe shows up several times, the boy from Tourist Trapped. That was the first episode.
Yeah, it's the boy where Mabel's like, I'm gonna have a summer full of boyfriends, and she gives a guy a letter where it's like, will you date me? And he writes in no.
Yeah. And Mormando is in there as well, and yeah, Dipper punches an illusion of a boy, and he's like, you think we're gonna fall for this? As Mabel definitely falls for it. And then it's just like, oh, sure, you all can marry me. As, the guy from the $10 bill? I forgot I had a crush on you. As Dipper's like, Mabel, what? They're not real. As Mormando's, just give us the bottle, Mabel. And, excuse me. As all this is happening, we cut to Seuss and Stan as they finish their balloon. And Stan's looking at the blueprints as it's this cutesy face of him. As it says, I heart kids written on it. And he's like, and he just says, okay, let her rip. As Seuss, like, let's go to the balloon and starts to take a step back. And he's like, oh no, I let her rip. As, yeah, as the H and the R falls down and, and crushes into the ground. As pretty much it cuts to the crowd as a giant Stan balloon
on fire.
Well, not yet. It just,
not yet.
Yeah, it looms over there as instead of saying I heart kids, it says I eat kids, and it is not what the drawing was, as it's this. Like, the eyes aren't on straight. It's got, like, weird, creepy teeth, a giant nose, and it's just... It looks like some sort of monster, which would fit for the area. Mm-hmm. And as people start pointing up to it and seeing it, just like, what? No! And just, like, they start freaking out. It doesn't say it here, so I think it's right around there after people notice it. In the kerosene and the fire were too close to each other as it just lights on fire. And
I just like this one line that they yell right before it catches fire is it's heaven's punishment for our terrible taste and everything.
Yes. Oh, there we go. Yes, that's fire and plummets to a young boy and his mother. Yeah, he's like, the teen's like, I eat kids, but we're kids. And then, the line you said, which is great. And everyone begins to run as, apparently, that's why he has a name, because his mother calls him his name. He's like, Mommy, is that floating head gonna eat us? As his mother holds him close, starts to cry. Yes, Charlie, he will. And then we just go back to Mabel, who's surrounded by, pink versions of all her heartbreaks past, and, as Dipper's like, dude, it's a trick, don't give him, as Mabel's like, here you go, as she hands the bottle to Mirmanda, who turns out was the love god, and he's like, gotcha. And Mabel's like, curse my oversized heart, and then the love god begins to monologue. It's just like, that's right, how could you possibly stop? And the man's like, let's calm it down, and the giant Stan head crushes the love god. And
eats him.
Yep, it eats them, and then it's just this burning balloon mess. As Mr. Valentino's, and as the Valentino show, he's like, "Oh, I hope someone didn't die." As Mrs. is like, "That would be awful." And it goes back to Stan and Seuss, and they're just like, as they walk in, he's like, "What's everyone crying about? In my day, zeppelins fell from the sky like raindrops," and it's like, "Sir, how old are you?" The teen who said, "This is heaven's punishment for a terrible taste and everything," is like, "It's the horrible old man from the sky," and everyone begins freaking out. And he's like, we're Stan's like, "You know what? The youth is overrated. Being feared, now that's being loved by the youth is overrated. Being feared, now that's priceless." As they just begin to walk away, as Dipper and Mabel are like, "Is the love god okay?" And she's like, "Please be immortal, please be immortal, please be immortal." As the love god kind of crawls off from the record, like, "I'm done with this." As like he gets called over, like, "Hey, we're ready for you." He's like, "You know what? Take it. Spray everyone for all I care. I don't really care. You want to mess with people's lives? Want to play God? Sure, whatever." And he's like, "Medic, I need onion rings." And so he's like, "Okay, let's go do what we wanted to do and get the friend group back together." To where Mabel's holding the spray bottle, getting ready to spray them, as Robbie turns around and sees him, like, "Wendy, I just want..." sorry, not Wendy. Mabel, "Thanks for all that you did. Like, I've been miserable since I broke up with Wendy, and thought my life is over, but you're right. I need to move on, and I'm happy?" Weird. And as Tambry, like, says, "Robbie, people are commenting on our pictures." As, like, Robbie, like, gives a little wink and walks off. And Mabel doesn't have the heart to do it. And she's like, "I can't do this." And Dipper's like, "Nah, they're kind of perfect for each other in some gross kind of way." But and then he's like, "What about our friend group?" And Mabel's like, "Maybe it'll sort itself out." And where it cuts to Thompson wearing a jacket and a hat to hide all the snacks, as he's holding the cake. And he's like, "Guys, I made a friendship cake, so let's all get over here, okay?" And then he gets hit in the head with a beach ball to where he drops the cake. And then as he goes to bend down to pick it over, his coat rips, and it shows all his snacks as the security guard's like, "Food from the outside!" And they chase him as he kind of runs up like a pole and is like holding onto a rope. And he's like, "No, stop!" As the rest of the gang, like all the other teens show up with Robbie and Tambry. And they're all like, pretty much, they're like, "Yeah, Thompson, fight the machine." and Wendy's like, "Throw snacks at him." And Robbie's like, "Use jerky as a weapon." And they all start cheering for him. As pretty much like it shows the security guards like swinging a broom at Thompson. As they're all cheering for him, and then we see that Nate and Lee, they kind of playfully punch each other, and it's just like, yeah, boy forgiveness. Words are tough. And then Wendy and Robbie kind of do the same thing, as they kind of just smile like apologetically towards each other. And Mabel's like, "Everything will be all right." And everyone's like, "Maybe there's someone up there who really is a genius matchmaker." As Thompson's like smiling, and he's like, "Yeah, all according to plan," as he starts getting hit again. To where it cuts to the credits, where we get a wedding montage of Wompers, of various pictures of Gompers and Waddles wedding, and like showing their life as a couple as it plays the song.
Goat and a pig.
Yeah. There's a goat and a pig, a couple of livestock, living. I don't know. My throat is kind of getting shot, so I'm not going to sing it. If you guys want to watch it, look it up yourself or watch the episode. But,
lots of talking.
Yes.
All right, I'll give you a little bit of a break. Let me look at if we learn anything new about the characters. You already mentioned that Robbie's middle name is Stacy. For some reason, it's important for us, according to the wiki, to know that he can lick his own elbow, and that's only because he licked mustard off of his hoodie during his date. Mm-hmm. It says here, Robbie writes poetry on the wall of his room. One of them reads, "I only cry in the rain, so my tears can't be seen."
It sounds like a Flight of the Conchords song.
We know that Thompson lets himself get bullied because he didn't have any other friends before this group. I like this one. It says Mabel strongly dislikes country music because, like you said, one of the potions was love for country music, and she's like, ew.
It seems to be a very common thing. A lot of people don't like country music until you hit like a certain age.
What I didn't realize is this is the first time we learned the goat's name is Gompers.
Oh. Yeah, it's just been here in the list the whole time.
He's just been hanging out in the background of episodes without ever being like talked about.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought Sue said his name when he ate the license plate for the boy band manager, but I guess not.
And maybe just calls it a crazy goat. I don't.
Yeah.
See if I click on his wiki, will it tell us? No, just says. Oh well.
Okay. I'm looking through the list of series continuity. It's all things that we've kind of talked about before. Although it says several times are seen sifting through a trash can at Woodstick. That I didn't catch.
Which one?
And
sorry,
several times are seen sifting through a trash can at Woodstick.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that. Of course, like we've mentioned in the fun fact, I think it was last week's episode, Agent Trigger and Agent Powers are somewhere in the crowd for Woodstick.
Mm-hmm.
Blind Ivan is apparently at the festival, too.
That makes sense, because they tell him he's a folk singer.
He's a bard.
Yeah. I'm trying to see if there's a picture, but it doesn't look like it. No, there's so many, like, people just sitting in there that it's like, yeah, it would make sense. Makes sense that it's just like, I just throw some of our characters in there.
Yeah, I'm just skimming through the trivia. I don't see anything.
Okay, apparently by Mabel's matchmaking figures, Mabel believes that Dipper and Candy could be a possible future match, as well as Stan and Abuelita, an old McGucket, and a beaver.
Checks out, in my opinion. I do see this. It says, in Journal 3, Mabel reveals the love potion's effects only last a few hours. Is that an upcoming episode, or is that just factually in the journal at some point they flip to that page? I guess they just flip to that page.
Yeah.
I click the link and it just takes me to the journal.
Yeah, it might be just something like, because there's so many different things where they just scroll through there. I think it's in a previous episode where it just kind of comes up. And it might just be something that's written on there. But yeah, it's just in the last few hours, which Robbie and Tambury aren't just drugged to like each other.
Yeah, that it'll wear off, and after it wore off, they're still together. So, okay. That's it for that. So, if your voice is recovered, are you ready to answer a couple of questions?
No, I don't want to take the survey.
It's okay. We'll take a quiz later. So, who was your favorite character this episode?
The Valentinos. Just both of them. They're just great. That's her name, right?
Yeah. I put the Valentino parents so we don't accidentally read back and go, do we like Robbie?
I forget that Robbie's last name is Valentino. So
they don't say it very often.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they're just funny. They just show up and they're just like, hey. And then just like the very morbid humor, just like, you know who looked good in that sweater? And then they're like, I hope no one died. Maybe.
They are really funny. Part of me wants to say them as my favorite as well, but I also think that Love God is so messy that I think that's funny as well, because, and I also think he's kind of an interesting character when he's like, the internet does all the matchmaking now. What am I doing? I'm starting a music career. So I think
it was either the Love God or Valentino. The Valentino, Mr. and Mrs. Valentino.
Yeah, I'm going with Love God. So who would you say you're most like?
Alright, here's the time where we go through all the characters that were in the episode and figure out who the heck they did. Yeah, so Mabel, this is definitely a Mabel episode.
Character growth.
Yeah.
Learning.
Where she very much talks about, just wants to have everyone be happy and all this stuff, and it's like, tries to force people together. Dipper just like, no, let's just keep the status quo, I'm finally in. Stan and Seuss are just trying to connect with the youngins. Well, Stan is, and Seuss is just there for the ride. I feel like Wendy and Thompson, and not Thompson, but
Lee and
Nate, yeah, they're all just like, yeah, we're having good times, not anymore. Okay, we'll have fun again. Tambury is also like, just, I feel like even though she's the cause, the catalyst for a lot of the events that happen here, but she kind of is just there, while Ravi is very much like very heartbroken and doesn't know what to do with his life. And then the love god is he's just vibing. He's just like, hey, I'll do what I want. So, if I had to guess one, I think I'll just have to put Stan again. I don't know.
This is how I connect with the youths?
Yeah, it's not so much with the youths, but just more with people in general.
This is what the people like. I'll do this. Is not working out. Oh well, I'd rather them be scared of me.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm late stage, the later stage Stan. Not so much like they fear me. Cool. It's more like, whatever. Why even try? I'm just gonna be myself. But yeah, I don't know. It's like I definitely never tried to matchmake anybody. I don't even try to matchmake people in video games because I'm just like, do what you want, and it's like, no, that's the point of the game. Like, you gotta like, no, it's like, they're their own people, let them do what they want. No, and yeah, it's, I never really been in Ravi's situation, so it's just like, okay, yeah, and then I don't know. I guess I've technically been in Dipper's situation, but I haven't, like, tried to, like, force everyone to get back together. Like, I have definitely been in friend groups, so I think that's just part of growing up, where, like, your friends start getting into relationships, and then you don't see the friend group dynamic changes. And so, but I don't think I ever been like, dude, we all have to get together and do, like, what we were, like, part of the group. It's like, I don't think I was very much that. Ever growing up, I'm just like, alright, whatever. So I'll say Stan.
That's fair. Yeah, like, on one hand, I know if anyone's seen my content online, they'd be like, oh, you like Mabel because you care a lot about smooching and matchmaking, but it's not something I actually do in real life. And I am the kind of person that wants to make sure accommodate for everybody, but Mabel does it in not, like, she has good intentions, but her end goal is to prove that she's good at something, and that's not...
She doesn't take the consideration of the other people.
Yeah. So I can't necessarily relate with that. Dipper, I can kind of relate to in terms of, like, wanting to find that new group of people and just trying your best to fit in, and being kind of like, oh, I really need this to work out because I finally found a new group of people. But I'm also not the type of controlling that's like, I don't think I try as hard. Maybe when I was a teenager. So I guess teenage me could relate to Dipper in that way.
I didn't know Teenage Hop.
Yeah.
Teenage Hop probably wouldn't have liked me anyway. It's like, ew, you're weird, go away.
Then sometimes I feel like Seuss, where I'm just like, are you sure? And people are like, come on, just do it. I'm like, all right, I'm not the boss. I'm just going to do it. And if things go wrong, I already told you I think something's going to go wrong. And then I don't really relate to the teenagers particularly. So, you know what? this might be my first s2e episode. Oh no, last episode I said I was most like s2e too, because sad birthday backstory.
It's your s2e era.
It's my s2e era. I'm over the back and forth between Dipper and Mabel era.
Yeah. I'm just a lot of Grunkle Stan with a bunch of like
side characters.
Yeah. There's a s2e one. Dipper had a double. Oh wait, we were both like Dipper for 2 episodes. Yeah, but then a lot of side characters, and then one episode where I felt connected to the multiverse. I don't remember why. Go back and listen to episode 6 of this series.
Huh. Yeah, we just finished 29.
Yeah, so we're in the final quarter after this. Or maybe after the 30th. Then we'll be in the last quarter. I don't know when it actually starts.
Math.
Yeah.
In any case, if you do you have anything else to add for this episode?
I said it before we recorded, but I really liked next episode.
Tune in next week to find out which episode D-Payne likes.
Or just look it up on the wiki when the week you guys have off. I think we have like 3 days before we record this next one.
You're supposed to draw people in and make them want to keep listening, D-Payne.
Why? No. Nah.
For that Wawa sponsorship.
Oh yeah. Forget everything I said. Anyway, Hoger Fresh, yeah, Wawa Towels and beach cheese. Wait, what? Anyway, yeah, I got nothing else to say. Yep, I can't even. My brain, it's not on the next thing we're doing, but it's like my head's like slightly thinking like, oh man, this is gonna be fun, and then like kind of the stuff we've been talking about. But like, for us, that's like theoretically not as far away, while for them it is 2 months, 3 months away. Hey, we plan things over a year out. Sometimes
we do what we gotta.
Yeah.
We both like to fill up our time with a lot of things. But in any case, thank you guys if you made it this far in the episode. We always appreciate it. Would extra appreciate it if you leave ratings, reviews, comments, likes, subscribe, share with other people, and all the things so that more people can find us, and so that when D-Payne says Hoagie Fest, we will get paid for that maybe one day.
From what I've read of Wawa, I don't think that will be the case, but we can dream. We'll be the first. I always thought it'd be interesting if Wawa did put on like their own Hoagie Fest music festival.
Interesting's the word for it, yes.
Yeah.
It'd be a bunch of Beatles cover bands.
Yeah. Like by their advertisement thing. I always wondered, well, I know why it's based off of that, I guess, because it's a little bit like Woodstock, just like this episode, but it's a lot of legally distinct art that looks like certain band members. But anyway, that's its own thing, and like normal, whenever I gotta explain the episodes go over an hour. So, bye!